Showing you how to use the if and countif functions in Excel. They can be a little bit tricky and a little bit time consuming to type out, but they're not too bad once you get the hang of it. And they're super useful and great if you have very big data sets and you want to get answers a lot quicker than doing it manually. Or counting manually, I should say. But so for this, we're going to be looking at average temperatures, just to kind of simplify things here. So average temperatures by month. So getting into it, we will say equals if open parentheses, and you see that it's asked for a logical test, and that's basically just asking for what you're measuring, and then what criteria to measure it with. So we will start with cell B2, 22 degrees, and we will say that if it is less than 60 degrees, then we want it to output cold. We would consider that cold. And the opposite, if it's false, if it's greater than 60 degrees, you could say warm. So just make sure you have your quotes in there for the outputs. And all you have to do once you have your criteria, your logical test and your values if true and value if false, and you just hit enter, and you'll see that 22 degrees is less than 60, and so it gave us an output of cold. And where this becomes really useful is if you just drag it right down, it will apply that to all the cells that we have here in column B. And so obviously the temperatures that were above 60 degrees in June, July, and August all are considered warm, and everything below is considered cold. So it's a little bit subjective. I mean, you could set the criteria to anything, but it just depends on what you want to get out of your data set. But anyways, moving on to countif. It's a little bit easier. So equals countif. All you have to do is select your data range. So this is the data I want to be looking at. And then for the criteria, again, you're going to need your quotes. And we will say that if let's say the cell is less than 40 degrees. And then you just close your quotes and hit enter, and you'll see that there are 5 cells within this data range that are less than 40 degrees. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. You could change it up if you wanted. You could say if it's less than or equal to 40 degrees. Oh, hang on. Put that on the other side. So yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. So now there's 6 because down here in October, the average temperature was 40. So now it is counting that particular cell. And again, you could change it up and say, 50 degrees. See that there's 7 that are less than or equal to 50 degrees within this data, and you can pretty much play around with it and do whatever it is that you would like. So that is the if and countif functions. Hopefully that was helpful. They can get a little bit more complicated if you add more to the functions themselves. If you were to if and or if or, but these are basically how they're used. And again, they can be super useful for very large data sets. If you had data that was just went on forever, it would take forever to count how many cells have values that are greater than 40 degrees, less than 40 degrees, etc. So hopefully that was helpful, and thank you for listening.